You know the trap almost every project manager falls into, believing that the project is the hardest thing they have to lead. Not the politics, not the personality, not the silence in the meetings you were not invited to, not the blame that lands on your desk for the decision you were never in the room to, let's be honest, actually make. Not even the weight of carrying the project where accountability disappears the moment something goes wrong, just the timeline, just the deliverables, just the plan. And that is the actual trap. See, because most of us, or almost all of us, walk into a profession believing the formula to project management is simple. Work harder, communicate more, stay organized, get one more certification. And by the way, you could just learn one more tool. So we do. We out prepare everybody in the room. But and definitely when reality shows up, you start noticing some projects, they were already dead on arrival before the kickoff meeting ever begun because the team was never aligned and nobody had the courage to say it out loud. So you notice that people who disappear when pressure first starts to appear and then they reappear when credit is given. See, and then you pick up on the one nobody that somebody never warned you about. Everybody wants to be like Mike. No, everybody wants to be the project manager. See, but they don't want the responsibility. They want the visibility, the influence, seat at the table. You don't see it at first. It shows up as hopefulness, opinions like, I just think we should, but eventually you realize something dangerous. The same people campaigning for the authority are quietly handing you the responsibility. Everybody wants the will. Nobody wants to crash. That hits hard, doesn't it? Because if we're just being honest, the team starts holding you to a standard of accountability they never ever held themselves to as well. Miss their deadline? Well, that's just context. Miss yours, that is failure. They want accountability from you without accountability from themselves. That is when it clicks. You're being handed the liability without authority, the blame without the bad. And you know what's worse? The part that nobody really warned you about? If you're not careful, you do not fight it. You actually start adapting to it. You start managing the optics instead of the project. You start getting quieter in rooms that actually matter. You learn how to survive in an environment instead of leading inside of it. That's how that trap actually works. It does not break you on day one. It kind of just slowly rewrites who you are at work until one day. And I do mean one day you look up and realize you become good at surviving a version of yourself you were never meant to become. So these traps do not just cost your project. They cost your confidence and identity. They cost yourself as far as how you believe that you could lead, the way you see yourself as an actual leader. However, this is why we're having this conversation today, because I'm not teaching you this from the mountaintop. I am teaching you this on the climb that, if I'm being transparent with you, is something that when you get into this thing that I love, that I hope you fall in love with, called project management, you will have to face. Because from the inside of this exact trap I'm describing, we're going to name some of these traps before they quietly become the career you actually never intended to build.